Hello, beautiful and ugly people out there in the world. Today I'm going to bring you a guide on how to destroy Vorkath, make some awesome money, some awesome XP, and fuck him up. So let's get into it. Vorkath is a boss unlocked after the Dragon Slayer 2 quest, and he's a high level boss. So you're going to need some pretty high range or melee stats to fight him. If you're going to use melee, the only item that would make it worth it is the Dragon Hunter Lance, which is currently pretty expensive. But if you're going to use range, you could get away with either the Blowpipe or Crossbow, with the Dragon Hunter Crossbow being the best option. I'm going to cover all these methods today though, and show you how to kill him and also Woox walk with all of them. The best way to get to Vorkath is by having a Lunar Isle teleport in your house. This way you can use an Ornate Rejuvenation pool and then teleport to Moon Clan right outside the bank. From here, you can use Bird's Eye Jack to bank, and then when you're ready to go to Vorkath, talk to one of the other bankers, and they'll kick you off for not having a seal of passage. You'll be placed right over here, by the dock, and then simply travel with Torfin to go to the Vorkath Island. Now, in the event that you die at Vorkath, Torfin will collect items for you, and return them to you for 100k, which can be taken straight out of the bank. You don't have to have it on you. So it's a relatively safe boss, but you do have to pay if you die. And if you die before you get a chance to collect your items again though, they will be lost forever. Another good way to get there is once again with your play-around house, but this time have it in Relica. That way, when you leave, you'll be right here and all you have to do is walk up to the dock. And another good way is by using Fremenic Sea Boots from the diary to teleport right here. However, unless you have the Elite Diary Boots done, it really won't be that efficient because you can only use it once a day. So best way is to just use a house portal or keep your house in Relica. I would just like to make a quick note before we get started that whichever method you're going with today, you're going to need a rune pouch with runes for Crumble and Undead here for the fight. So just make sure you bring that. And also I will include timestamps down in the description and a comment just showing different parts of the video if you need to see a specific part, so feel free to use those. In order to initiate the boss fight, you poke Vorkath, and then he wakes up, and then you can begin to kill him. What you're now seeing is his melee, his magic, and then his ranged attacks. He also has a pink attack, which will turn your prayers off and you need to turn them back on. He has a green attack, which can inflict venom, fireball attack, which goes up into the air. If you're directly hit by it, it will most likely kill you. And if you are indirectly hit by it, it will still do a lot of damage to you, so you want to move 2 squares away from it. And finally, he has a plain orange fire breath attack that just acts as regular dragon breath. Every 6 normal attacks, like the ones we just went over, Vorkath will do one of 2 special attacks, which alternate. The first special attack is a white dragon breath that will freeze you in place, and he will spawn a zombified spawn. You need to use Crumble Undead on it. And if you do not do this in time, it will explode, hitting you for 50 to 60 damage. So if you do hit the Crumble Undead on it, it will kill it instantly. Also in this time, you actually have time to eat a food as he spawns the zombified spawn, and immediately after you cast the spell, giving you some time to heal. His second special attack is to shoot poison in the air, and then shoot fireballs at you every tick, which is every 0.6 seconds. They do 30 to 40 damage each, and can kill you in 1 to 2 seconds if you stop moving at any time. Now the trick is just to turn run off and walk back and forth in an area without poison. If you do step in the poison, it'll damage you a little bit and heal him. I will show you also a method later called Woox walking, which is used to manipulate the game ticks to still attack him during that phase and speed up kills a lot. Okay, so let's start off by talking about the Crossbow Method. Best crossbow to use obviously is going to be the Dragon Hunter Crossbow. However, a Ruin Crossbow, Dragon Crossbow, or Armored Isle Crossbow will also work if you cannot afford it. Then you'll need some type of anti-fire shield, whether that's just the plain shield or a Dragonfire ward. Both will work well. And for the bolts, you want to use ruby and also diamond bolts. Either dragon or the adamant kind work, depending on what you can afford. Now you want to use the ruby bolts until Vorkath gets to 35% health or 250 health remaining, and then switch to the diamond bolts for better conservation. Void is the best outfit to use here, and a Salve Amulet imbued and enchanted for the best damage per second. Then in my inventory, I have a Bando's Godsword and a Void Melee Helm Switch. I use this at the beginning of the kill for the special attack to lower his defense, and then I proceed throughout the kill with my range gear. Now, if you can get one good spec off each kill, I would advise that, just so that you can try to have enough spec to spec at least once a kill. For my inventory, I like to use a Divine Ranging Potion, Anti-Venom Plus, Extended Super Anti-Fire. I use a regular Super Combat Potion for the spec, and then 2 Super Restores. You could also bring 3. I have a Explorer's Ring, which I use for the High Alchemy. You could also bring a Fire Nature Runes or something and use Combination Runes. And then a Rune Pouch is very important for having Crumble Undead spells. We'll use these for part of the Vorkath fight. And 2 Teleport Houses. I use one just to get here to MoonClan, and then I use another one to teleport out of Vorkath. And the rest food, either Shark or Manta Rays, for the longest trip possible. So let's go to Vorkath and see a kill in action and talk about it. Now, for basically any PVM thing I talk about in the game, I recommend using the F keys set up so that you can quickly swap between your different menu screens here, and that's no exception for Vorkath. I like Escape for inventory, F1 for the combat screen, and F2 for prayers. And also, if you're using RuneLight, I'd recommend marking these 2 tiles right here. Just shift-click, and you can mark and unmark any tile. Just called the ground markers or tile markers in RuneLight. Now, to start off a kill, I drop a mana ray so that I can make room for my switch. Come up here, drink some of my potions. Then I wake up Vorkath. Turn on Protect from Magic at first. Hit him with the spec, and then immediately go back to this tile where I dropped my mana ray. Pick it up and start attacking him with Rigor and Protect from Range. Alright, now here's the Woox walk technique as I was referring to earlier. As you can see, I'm not getting hit because I'm continuously moving while still getting hits in on Vorkath. This speeds up kills by a lot and is handy to learn, but at first I would recommend just learning the Pleb Walk and Surviving Acid phase. And there you have it, there's one kill. Okay, so for a little recap on the Woox walking I was doing with the crossbow during that fight. Stand on one of these 2 tiles when the poison phase starts, then click the other tile and immediately click down so your character walks to the back row. Then you want to start walking back and forth like so, trying to find an area in the second row where there's no poison tile. And when you find one, click on Vorkath and then immediately click to the back row and keep moving side to side. So you can see this motion I'm making here with my mouse. Vorkath, back, keep it moving. This method is pretty easy once you get the hang of it, and you can even practice it here, as you see, when Vorkath is sleeping. So this one shouldn't take you too long to get down, and it will save you a lot of time on kills. Alright, so there you have it for the Crossbow Method. Now let's get into the Blowpipe Method. The overall gear and inventory is pretty similar for the Blowpipe Method. The big difference being we have no shield this time, and we can also use a Blessing in the ammo slot since we're not using bolts. And I like to bring a Berserker Ring for this method since we're saving a space there with the bolts for a higher spec. And also the spec is going to matter more because of the lower accuracy of the Blowpipe. But basically everything else is the same. One of the key differences in the fight itself will be instead of praying Protect from range, we will be praying Protect from magic. Because in order to get full anti-fire protection during Vorkath, we need a super anti-fire and also either a anti-dragon shield or Protect from magic enabled. So let's go take a look at the fight now and how it's going to look, and also talk about Woox walking, which does get a little bit harder when you use a blowpipe, but it's still doable. So let's get into it. The cool thing about using a blowpipe is that you don't have to drop a food here because you don't have to take a shield off. So you can just go up to him, pot up, and start the fight. And there you have it for a blowpipe kill. Now let's get a little bit closer of a look at the Woox walk and how that works with a blowpipe. Alright, so let's take a closer look into Woox walking with a blowpipe at Vorkath. Now like I said, it is a little bit more difficult, but once you get it down, it's not too bad. So something to keep in mind here, we can still keep these two tiles marked, it's helpful. Know that the tile right in front of these is where our attack range is with the blowpipe. So in order to Woox walk, we don't want to pass this tile. Now what I like to do is at the start of the poison phase, start moving back and then move somewhere to the back row or the second to back row and look for a clear tile range where you have somewhere to walk here without poison. And then once you find a tile, you're going to click on Vorkath, and once you first get to that tile and see your blowpipe come up, you're going to start clicking every tick like so, and your character is going to do this funny walk back and forth. And you can practice it while Vorkath is dead, or a good time to practice it is throughout his regular kill. When he's not specking, just practice it, try to get into the flow of it so that you know how to get into it quickly for the poison phase. So to show it a bit more easily, I'm going to do another kill and explain deeper. Okay, so here I'm just kind of practicing going in and out of the Woox walk, so click backwards, get some momentum, and then start that click. It's gonna be a little weird to get used to it first, but like I said, you kind of want to start it off walking into it, and then as you walk into shooting him, then you start the Woox walk going back and forth like so. It is a little bit weird to get down, but I promise once you practice it a little bit, you'll get the hang of it like nothing. Sorry ladies, you might not like it, but this is what peak male performance looks like. Sorry about that. So what I meant to say was let's move on into the melee section of the guide using the Dragon Hunter Lance setup. So obviously we're a lot different here now with the gear since we're using a melee style. You want to go for the best overall strength bonus you can get, and in my opinion the best helmet is the Serpentine helmet. Even though the Nezanot face guard thing came out, this still offers the Venom protection, which will save us from having to use a anti-venom potion, and is still pretty good. So just get the best strength stuff you can, and of course the Dragon Hunter Lance. Now we're actually going to be praying Protect from Magic, so you can go ahead and bring a defender. No need to worry about a Dragonfire shield. It is not necessary. And for the inventory, here is what it looks like. So we still have our BGS for a spec weapon here, or you could use a Dragon Warhammer. Either would work okay. And you might be wondering why we have this Mystic Robe Top. Well, when you're using all this melee gear, if you take a look at your stats, you might notice that your magic accuracy is really low. So actually, if it is below or at -65, you will basically splash when you use Crumble Undead, and you do not want that to happen, because then the spawn thing will not die and it will hit you for like a 50 or something, and that will suck. So what you do is when you get to that phase, you just throw on a Mystic Top like this or another magic gear, and it brings your magic to a level where you can once again one-hit it without worry of splashing. So it's very handy. This time I like to bring a Divine Super Combat Potion, since it is going to be our main attack style, and I want to keep the boost at 100%, but besides from that, everything else is basically the same. So let's get into it, cover the fight and the Woox walk.
Please, man, I need the herb. I need the herb, dude. Oh.
Okay, so fun fact, using melee here is actually going to result in basically the most profit, because we're not going through any crossbow bolts, and we don't have to use an anti-venom with the helmet. So it's basically just as good as the Dragon Hunter crossbow if you want to use melee, so just keep that in mind. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and drop a Manta Ray so that I have room for my spec weapon. Going to get that ready, go ahead and spec, and we'll go through a kill and see how it goes. Alright, and there we have a kill. Okay, so time to cover the Woox walk for the Lance. Basically, it's not too bad. All you have to do is find a path with no poison in it, and then click on Vorkath, and when you see the XP drop, simply click away, and then after you get a couple tiles away, click on him again, and you get into the rhythm of going back and forth and poking him. So that's about it really for the Lance. It's probably the easiest one, and it's not too bad.
Tips and tricks.
Try to pray flick throughout the kill. This will conserve prayer points, saving you money and inventory space. You can watch my guide on how to pray flick if you don't know how. You can use control to run if you need to move quick out of the way of a fireball. To do this, hold your keyboard like so. Rest your left hand on the keyboard with your ring finger on escape, middle finger on F1, and pointer finger for F2 and F3. And then use this little part of the pad of your hand for the control key, and you can click it and hold it down only when you need to. Live to fight another day. If you're trying to learn Woox Walk and you start getting hit by fireballs a lot, try to just walk it out and go back to killing them normally. Eat up, and try to finish the kill off. The 100k you lose every time you die really starts to add up, so at least try to get 1 kill done per trip, and then try the Woox Walk. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed my guide. Thanks for watching the video. You should now be a master at killing Vorkath, and should be able to make some pretty good money, do Slayer tasks, get the Vorkath head, whatever you want from him. Good luck out there for all of you grinding Vorkath, and make sure to let me know what your kill count is in the comments below, as well as your personal best time. Thanks, and have a nice day. Vorkath is a boss unlocked after the Dragon Slayer 2 quest. Fuck you, Posty Pete.
Please, my Gary, I'll give you a potion. I just need my herb. Please, man. I'll do any. I'll suck your dick, man. Give me the herb, dude. Give me the herb, bro. I need the herb.